Welcome to a new Energy Crew podcast. I'm your host, JP Warren. I want to thank everybody out there for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, I want to thank you. These podcasts are kind of a dive into what it started off. I mean, if you go back throughout the catalog, it started off as kind of a podcast to bring leaders together, to bring characters together, and learn about kind of what drives them, what motivates them, what keeps them going. However, recently we've kind of dived into a more of a leadership, holistic leadership conversations, what helps you internally, externally, small tips, small mind shifts that can really kind of help you navigate throughout your day. The stuff that I've tried. And the reason why I'm doing this, because I'm still in this process of kind of organizing our thoughts. And I think we're all in this process together. However, there are some things that I've struggled with during my entrepreneurial career that I think through these podcasts and kind of shining light on it, it kind of the stuff that I've struggled with, that I've kind of figured out a system that works. That's what we're here to do, to share this with you. And this is kind of a personal journey on kind of an experience that I had last week, and it's one of those things where it's kind of still occurring today as I record this on the Saturday. Again, you can find Energy Crew Podcast on YouTube. If you want to go over there, subscribe. We see that there's 85% of the people that watch the videos don't subscribe. So if you're one of them, I know who you are. Hit it. And then also you can find this on other channels. But this is kind of a personal one. They're all personal, but this is kind of more of a vulnerable one, and it's an interesting one because I pride myself, my platform on a healthy mindset, on just kind of focus on what you can control, relinquish what you can't. That's what I promote. That's kind of what I want to talk about. That's how I try to help people, and that's the feedback that I'm getting from my conversations about just helping people. However, this subject is kind of one of those things where it's completely opposite of what I'm preaching, the image that I'm putting out there, and also, I guess the brand that I'm putting out there, because it does fall really behind the curtains on a personal level. And it's kind of something that I experienced last week in a pretty heavy manner. I don't know, you can call it a depression, a funk, a wave of something, whatever you want to call it. It was a pretty low point. And I just want to kind of share this with people out there. And this might be whether I'm thanking the people that were there for me, who I reached out to and talked to, or is people that might be kind of going through something similar in their personal life. It's a new year. The news is out there. There's a lot of stuff that kind of can get in our heads externally and kind of bring the mood down. Whether it's us doing mindless scrolling through things that kind of rob our focus and our energy, things that are designed, and the algorithm is designed to kind of elicit a response. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Last week, start Sunday, I started kind of having a feeling inside me, and I can't describe it. It was kind of a wave. It was kind of like a tide coming in. I've never had this feeling before. It started slow and just it was one of those things where I just couldn't get. I just started feeling a little bit detached. Okay, it's not that I couldn't get happy. I just started feeling detached. My thoughts kind of started getting heavy, like the responsibility, the accountability. However, the realistic part of my brain was saying, "Hey, JP, it's time out a second. Like, let's realize where we're at." Crew Club, one of your companies, your operator, producer, network events, you just introduced a new level to it, and it's increased the demand. You're validating the value of your networks. That's going great. Not only that, we're reaching capacity. So on paper, one of my businesses, which is bringing people together, has a rocket launcher full of jet fuel on its ass. On another piece of paper in my life, it's tremendously successful. I just launched an exec crew mastermind. It's actually so it started off as just a network of people, but I've developed and put a lot of time, work, and effort and pride into it. It's something I'm proud about, and it's actually an executive development program. So on paper, and we're full at capacity, and I'm really seeing the community come together. And I'm seeing I'm seeing everything work out better than expected. So on paper, all businesses is surpasses my expectations of where I want to be. So maybe not financially, but hey, that's fine. That's why we're doing this. We'll eventually get there. But just kind of the momentum it's there. But again, on paper, externally, the optics, it's all there, it's all there, it's all there. However, what was a real big disconnect was happening internally. Sunday, I started feeling extremely disconnected. I started having a real kind of short fuse towards my family, towards my wife and my daughter, and it just sucks. I know what I was doing. I could identify it, but I always identified it after I responded, after I reacted, and then that compounded. I started being hard on myself, started having more guilt to it. So anyway, Sunday it really kind of started kind of kicking on. And I was just kind of one of those things. Well, maybe it's a long weekend, maybe it's this, I haven't been, it hasn't been a dry January. My wife and I, we haven't really been partaking in that much booze since last February, actually. So it wasn't the chemicals from the booze. So I could cross that off the list. So I was thinking, okay, well, what's going on here? Okay, so something's going on, something's happening. Maybe it's just a good night's rest and we'll be gone tomorrow. That's what I was hoping. All right. So I apologize if it takes me a little bit. I'm just kind of I jotted down notes here that I kind of don't want to miss during this conversation. Again, the goal is to share my experience in the hopes that it helps maybe one person out there. All right. So, oh, that's so amazing. I was on the actual wrong thing. So, um, yeah, so again, everything on paper, everything externally, everything that I was communicating out, everything that should feel great, it was not happening. It was not clicking. Well, Monday came around and just started kind of getting deeper. It started kind of getting heavier and heavier. And this is something I've never really experienced, whether it's depression, never really experienced this thing where I just can't shake this feeling of detachment, this feeling of doom and gloom, which is random because if nothing, I knew this. There's nothing but hopes, promises, and potential that I was dealing with. However, internally, I could not get there. I could not break through a wall. So Monday was pretty tough, and I just kind of sunk in deeper into it. I wasn't reaching out. I was kind of faking it till I make it. Same thing Tuesday. However, Tuesday, it was really kind of started building. The storm started kind of building in my mind. I just, when I was around people, I felt connect connect is the wrong word. I felt engaged. When I was around people, I felt engaged, not really connected. We had a great exec crew lunch. We really saw some great connections happen there and all stuff. However, when I got in my car, I just started getting in my head, and that really kind of started taking a toll. And going home, I had a podcast on kind of like the power of positive self-talk, and framing things, and just kind of like really kind of trying to separate yourself from your limiting beliefs. And I started kind of going through this process, and after I talked to my wife and all that stuff, kind of mentioned, kind of broached stuff what I was going through. And, she said the things that obviously I knew. And she gave me some, to do, like turn off the music and do your self talk, do your affirmations out loud. I started doing that. I couldn't get there. I was saying the obvious. Hey, JP, this is happening. That's great. You have a loving daughter. You have a loving wife. You got great friends. This is really happening. You're living your dream. Like, literally, I was saying it, but I wasn't feeling it. My voice wasn't matching how I felt, and it was such a disconnect, which honestly made me feel worse. So it kind of made me feel shittier, and it was just a lot. Yeah, and that was Tuesday. So I really started kind of saying, okay, well, something's going on here that I've never experienced, and something's wrong. Okay, so I started thinking about it. I started kind of, researching it, and it turns out it's like, okay, well, what could cause this feelings of detachment, of fatigue, of depression, of what could it be? And this is just my experience. Okay, I'm not a trained professional at all. I'm a certified coach, but that's not a therapist. That's not anything like that. So it's one of those things. This is not. I'm just explaining what happened with me. So this is not advice. If you are going through some stuff, please seek help out and seek 100%. But again, was what was going on with me. So I started researching it. So I started looking into like what nutrients that I may have been missing. And there's B12, there's vitamin D, there's even natural getting outside, getting some natural light. Even if it was whatever. So I started kind of, okay, well, I need to start, get back on my multivitamins, take my B12, and get out there and start walking. All right. So number one was the power of kind of pausing and providing myself a little bit of grace and kind of self-reflecting, saying, okay, well, there might be some nutrients that are missing from me where it could fix it. It's not really my problem. So I started, took some men's multivitamins, B12, some vitamin D, started getting outside, started moving around, started getting some sunlight. However, that was still not clearing my mind or kind of lifting my mood. I was still feeling pretty heavy. And it's tough, it's tough, you have these, this is now we're on day 2, day 3, where it's just like you don't want to, move forward. And like, if as a business owner, it's tough. It's like, well, shit, everything's, on your back. You have your family relying on you, you have your customers relying on you, you got your industry relying on you, whatever. I mean, you can obviously scale it up. However, you're relying on yourself. So I had to rely on myself during this time, and I still was not kind of feeling good. I was again lethargic. It was just like I could not get out of my mind. Thinking about it made me think about it more, which made me sink into it more. So okay, so Wednesday again, woke up, nothing was happening. Still felt pretty damn low. Still felt pretty unattached, not motivated. I knew what I had to do, and I did it. And when I would talk to people, I did feel engaged again, not connected. And it was kind of getting. I felt a little bit better with the B12, but I was not there yet. And again, this is when it was kind of like I need to start reaching out. I need to start talking about this. There was something kind of pulling me to just to reach out to people, like, and it wasn't people that have, whether it wasn't for me, it wasn't people that have been through it, or maybe they have. It was people that I just felt that I could just confide and just talk to. That doesn't mean it was my, inner circle. There were people that I've met throughout my, my journey where I could just kind of pick up the phone. It's like, I'm kind of going through this. I knew that they were listening. I knew that they cared. And I wasn't looking for advice. I just kind of want to dump this on them. And that through kind of talking, I started doing walking and talking a little bit more. So a lot of, Wednesday and Thursday I was doing a lot of walk and talks and kind of talking to people and being very vulnerable what I was going through, kind of the isolation, the detachment, the inability to connect with my family, to connect with my friends, to really just like, even like be uplifting. Again, everything on paper was great. It all looked great. It was just extremely difficult. So it was not just walking and it was not just talking. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot to this process. So I was like, okay, well, I have to start taking something, myself a little more serious, my health a little bit more serious. So I knew something was out of whack. I could feel it. There was a disconnect in my body, whether it's the emotions, the feelings. So I decided I hate doctors. I have an irrational fear of doctors. It's not like I hate medicine. I just don't like going to the doctor. It's irrational. I know that. However, for the sake of my family, for the sake of me, I had to go get checked out. So I'm 43 years old. Have never really been checked for testosterone. And, you go online, you start researching, why am I feeling low? Why am I feeling so shitty, so detached, so depressed, if you will? And, a lot of it, if you're a man over X number of age, could be, a sign of testosterone depletion, low testosterone. I started looking into that and I started realizing, okay, well, guys are talking about this. You see the sign and all that. You see the signs also, but it's always like, oh, for me, it was always like, oh, well, that's not me, whatever, I'll, work out, I'm, attracted to my wife and whatever, all that stuff. It's not necessary, but I didn't realize that testosterone is connected to so much about as a man, it's like it affects your mood, it affects your sleep. And I've been getting up in the morning a lot in the morning around 3:30. And I thought it was just excitement. I thought it was my creative spirit waking me up. I thought it was a lot of things. So pretty much I didn't realize how tied it was until I started researching what was going on and why it was potentially going on. So that day, I made an appointment to get my blood checked, to get my testosterone check. I ordered some, multivitamin nutrition. I just wanted to figure out and start somewhere what was going on with me when it came down to kind of this dark week, and it's something that like, and maybe it was put in my life to kind of show more empathy to like, other people when they're feeling low, instead of, being so quick to judge, saying, oh, well, just put your mind right. You can do it. Like, just have positive self-talk. Maybe it was kind of a reflect, a way for me to look in the mirror and say, hey, have a little more patience, a little more empathy for people who may be experiencing, this, whether it's a depression, funk, detachment, whatever it is. So I'm fortunate that I went through, that I went through that, going through that. I still have another. So anyway, got my blood work back. I went Monday, got my testosterone checked. I have low testosterone, and I can say that in 2024. It's my podcast. I'm fine saying that. I think there's a lot of guys, and it's natural. It drops when you're 27. I'm 43, so whatever. Age is not just a number, but no, it's like it's one of those things where it's like and it's like it's nervous to learn about. It's also the reality of like you're kind of getting older, so that's a. But I think taking care of yourself and having the power to kind of move, even if you just don't want to, and getting out of the house and trying to take care of yourself, even if it's small and you're not figuring it out, but having a process, having a progress of moving forward and take care of yourself. And I think there's a huge power in walking. I think there's a huge power in working out and getting those endorphins going. I think there's a huge power in sunlight, vitamin D. I think there's a huge power in getting the right nutrients in your body. And also, one of the biggest powers is the power of connection and just communicating. So realizing that I had the sport to just call people and just kind of just like, hey, like I'm going through this, and like, and then, again, that combats the everything on paper things are going good, and that's so against kind of like my whole personal brand of, hey, talk yourself up and all that stuff. So being vulnerable with people, that is such a huge exposure and such huge potential to help too, to surround yourself with a group of people that you can just kind of just talk to, and they'll be there to support you. So I think there's a lot of power in that as well. And again, it's embarrassing talking about this. It's embarrassing talking about, going through this. It's embarrassing talking about getting your testosterone checked and, having low testosterone. Like all this stuff's kind of embarrassing, but it's all stuff that we all go through. We may not all go through it, but there's a even if even if one person goes through it, but there's more than one person going through this, and there's a lot of people going through this. So again, I don't know kind of where to go with this. Okay, so I keep everyone updated when I go back to the doctor Monday to back to the testosterone doctor, and also I have other doctor's appointments too. Just it's like I want to take myself seriously, and if it is nutrients, or if it is this, if it's that, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to face my fear of taking care of myself, not just physically, mentally, blood work, all that fun stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it was one of those things. Just to kind of wrap it up, there was a lot of power. There's a lot of power, I guess, in feeling so low. I guess it sucks. It really does. However, if you can appreciate people around you, if you can appreciate the power of communication, reaching out, and just even if you don't even know how to broach the subject, just talking about it. I think it feels better. I think whenever we go through difficult times, we often feel alone. It's easy to feel that way. It's easy to feel isolated. But if you are out there going through that, you are 100% not alone. You take it from someone who brands himself on being a optimistic, don't worry about the stuff you can't control. Focus on what you can. Have positive self-talk. So it hits a lot. Hits a lot of people. Hits everyone. It can hit anyone. So take care of yourself. Talk to people. Move. Be vulnerable. People are going through this. It doesn't matter if you have lunch with someone you think that they're the most optimistic, go forward, motivated person ever. They're probably facing something on internal level. So again, sorry for the if this was not a doom and gloom episode, but kind of not the standard episode that you're used to. But again, I think it's important to talk about it. Again, if you are kind of going through this and you do need some professional help, that's not a problem. Like a lot of people get professional help, and I think people around you would thank you for that. So thank you for tuning in, Energy Crew podcast. I appreciate you all. Again, try to spread some kindness. Be kind to everyone. Be kind to yourself, especially. And then we'll talk to you soon. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.